think we can all agree that the most painful thing an anime fan can experience is binging a show and realizing there isn't a new season coming out once caught up. Across the 4 seasons of the year, tons of announcements are made for returning series, new projects, and chances from anime years ago to take the spotlight once more. As long as I've been watching anime, there are lots that I wish had new seasons, and plenty of them I'm sure you share the same sentiment. With that in mind, I want to take a stroll back down memory lane and revisit these shows, given many of them being impactful for different years of anime, and others having such strong fan bases that yearn for certain arc adaptations. Of course, this first choice probably won't be much of a surprise, given it has one of the greatest anime openings to grace the medium. Maggie was one of the first magic anime that I could confidently say I wasn't disappointed in. A story dealing with characters such as Aladdin and Alibaba, who we have all heard of growing up, whether it be Disney's Aladdin or other sources, already put us in a familiar setting. The central drive of the plot, dealing with one of the most powerful magic users known as Maggie, who lead their choice of a king's candidate to greatness, accompanied by all sorts of faction drama and magical warfare, was the exact elements that got me invested in this journey. Maggie to me had the perfect balance of how great something like magic could be in terms of the reality-changing aspect for civilization, while also maintaining to depict the cruelty and unfairness that lurks within the world. Every fight was met with combinations of magic, the character designs and factions kept on growing and maintaining their distinction, and the overall journey was extremely satisfying from not only a power perspective, but in terms of the character writing given the character's origin. With 2 successful seasons under their belt, the anime was positively regarded and till this day still is. However, it's no secret that with 37 volumes total, there is still a lot of story to tell. The end goal of the series was always to see Alibaba become the next king that will bring the world to its knees. This is an anime that I'm surprised has not come back yet, and hopefully there's a chance someday for its completion, as Maggie played a huge impact for 2012's and 2013's year of anime. If there are 2 things that I've always felt can be hit or miss within anime, it's concepts dealing with zombies and vampires. Seraph of the End was an anime that definitely stayed on the good side of things when it came to the vampires versus humans wielding demonic weapons storyline. Back in 2014, the pilot episode managed to kick off with an incredibly tragic hook, establishing the situation with the existence of vampires and those who choose to fight them. Yu and Michaela, being adopted families separated by their blood literally, created a complicated situation within a grand scheme in this long war, and this complication getting even bigger within the series battle in Nagoya. If there is one thing I will never forget seeing for the first time, it's the absolute one-sided beatdown brought by the Salt King Yu. The Seraph itself making its way to the battlefield, accompanied by a godlike OST, gave us a peek as to how grand these battles can get and what the Japanese Imperial Demon Army is truly aiming for. Tons of questions with a finale that left off with a cliffhanger that clearly had a bigger battle lying ahead. This series is long overdue for a new season, and while there may not be a huge vocal crowd fending for it, it definitely is something that would be nice to have given its long absence. Given the amount of memes and conversation around the series, No Game No Life is pretty iconic during the 2014 year. The game's genre had become super popular, coming off things like Sword Art Online, Excel World, and Log Horizon, and No Life was taking that core element and infusing comedic shenanigans within it. Absurd edginess aside, the series was full of all sorts of unusual games, with the sibling duo of Shiro and Sora aiming to change humanity's position within this world structured around games by climbing to the top to challenge God themselves. At the time, there really wasn't a concept enabling so much potential involving games and yet equally entertaining, but the show managed to acquire a large audience with an overall positive conversation around the series. The prequel movie Zero also doing quite well with its debut back in 2017, and clearly showing that there is an audience out there who still hopes for the anime's eventual return someday. No Game No Life is an anime that would fit in perfectly today, and with the leaps and bounds of how anime has improved with over the years, it would look absolutely incredible in today's time. The show only just got started with the climb to the top, and hopefully there is some hope for the future, as the fan base is still hoping for a miracle. Jonah of the Dawn is one of the first shoujo I have ever had the pleasure of reading and have enjoyed it immensely. How the story has managed to continue such great consistency with both the art and narrative is nothing short of impressive given its large cast and constant moving pieces, and it's actually astounding how this doesn't have another anime season. The story in the manga is so deep to the point where there could be almost 3 seasons of content and it still won't be close to being caught up. Again, with so much talent lurking within the industry, a new season of Jonah would benefit incredibly under a great director and art that really gets you immersed in the moment points the same way the manga does. It's already hard enough for shoujo fans to win enough as it is, with series getting the recognition it deserves, but Yona of the Dawn is easily one of the best out there that can really put the genre on the map once more with a new season. I swear, sometimes I wish I could go and stare down the person in charge and ask them what is going on, because this by far is one of the series most overdue for new content. While Pierrot does have their hands full with Bleach and Boruto these days, hopefully some room will be freed up to put the Crimson Dragon Princess on the screen once more. I have always been a fan of the gods and their low-profile task of overlooking humanity. Noragami is definitely another iconic anime for the 2014 and 2015 year of anime. The former Calamity guy Yato, now turned delivery guy, getting involved with Hiyori, managed to deliver a ship and storyline that has fans waiting for more till this day. From all the comedic shenanigans of Yato trying to get paid or dodge consequences to the weapon combat, one thing Studio Bones is gonna do is create a really good anime. As of right now, the manga is in its final arc and there is still plenty to adapt, and I've seen more vocal demand for Noragami for years now. I'm not sure if there's any hope for Noragami, but considering something like Blue Exorcist managed to find its way back, anything is possible. Studio Bones is still going strong to this day, and hopefully they can manage to pull this series up for another season. With the idea of the Soul Resonance, and as my final anime that I think deserves a new season, comes the one and only Soul Eater. Soul Eater is by far one of the series that comes to mind when thinking of Studio Bones. With the legend Nakamura working on the series himself, this by far deserves a proper adaptation to finish what was started. Back during the anime's run, it ran into the decision of the anime original ending, and with reading the manga fully now, Soul Eater needs a reboot and it needs one right now. Feel free to go check out my video on the manga, by the way. There are so many things that happen differently in the manga, and so many more fights that took place, which recontextualizes a lot for the plot, especially when learning of its connection to Fire Force. I would go as far to say that if the true battle of Black Star versus Mifune came out today with the right supervision and talent behind it, that fight would be one of the greatest fights ever in anime history. Okubo knows how to deliver when the setup is there, and Soul Eater by far has a completely different story to tell in comparison to its original anime counterpart. There is a part of me that wants to believe that deep down, Studio Bones knows they need to go back and reboot this series, and hopefully our chaotic trio will be able to tell their story of how they were truly able to defeat the Kishin someday. That pretty much wraps up my list for anime that deserve another season. Sometimes I wish there was a year where studios could focus on continuing adaptations from years ago rather than forgetting about them, but hopefully one of these will see a new anime someday in the future. In the meantime, all we can do is continue to read the manga and hope for an announcement that'll take the world by storm. That's pretty much it for me though. As always, thank you for watching, and make sure to let me know in the comment section down below what anime you think deserves a new season. Stay cool out there, and I will catch you all in the next video.